First Sunday of the year, we set our intention. And this week, what I've been thinking a lot about is trust. I remembered back when I was in my early 20s, I took a course, weekend workshop called Actualizations. And I liked it so much, I got involved with the organization, started helping out. I've probably told you this story before, but since it came up for me, I thought I'd share it again with you. And so I got very involved in the organization, started helping out, got to know the founder, Stuart Emery. And so when they ran that particular work, and I did some advanced workshops there, but I also redid the initial workshop. And when I was in it, the way it worked was as you walked in, there were about 250 people in the room. You would pick a number out of a jar, and if your number was called, you went up on stage, and you would get processed in front of the entire group. That's how they did it, right? And so this time, my second time doing it, when my number came up, I got up on stage, and I was about to tell my story, and Stuart Emery goes, "Stop. Cliff, I don't want to hear your story. I just have this to tell you. Trust the process. Now go sit down." And that was that. And I've been looking, I mentioned a while ago that I've been writing my memoirs, my autobiography. And so that has me looking at all these journals that I've kept since I was 23. And I noticed that after the workshop, I got big letters, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. And I didn't. That was the thing about it. I wrote it a lot. Maybe you do affirmations a lot and somehow don't shift, right? Don't get to that place of trust. But once you set an intention, if you don't trust in the fact that it might actually happen, you could bend yourself out of shape trying to make it happen, exhaust yourself, and not get it anyway. In fact, in the exhaustion, that was my experience in the music business, was I never trusted that I could actually make it, so I kept trying to do this and that and pushing here and pulling there, and I got so exhausted and so frustrated and so fed up, I blew it up. I blew it up so bad that there was a time in New York City where I was banned to play from every single club in the city. Now that's blowing it up. I'd gotten into an argument with a manager at a club, and then the next morning on my answering machine was messages from every other club in the city saying, "We heard about your argument, you can no longer play at our club." Man, oh man, when I do it right. After actualizations, I got into something called DMA, which was run by a man named Robert Fritz. And DMA didn't really stand for anything. He just thought it was close enough to DNA, which is what he really cared about. You know, the fact that we can generate our own creativity. That was his thing, through visualization. What I love about our teaching is that we pretty much teach the same thing as Robert Fritz, but we believe in spirit. He didn't. And I really like feeling that oneness and the fact we have spirit involved in what it is we do. And so that, for me, was the evolution from DMA to this that was really right for me. This felt a lot better. A lot of the same teachings, except we always hold inside it, there's this intelligence, there's this thing that's larger than us, that we are one with, that we are, all of us. I love that. And what he said was, the big teaching I got from him, I got a lot of teachings from him, but one of the ones that apply to what I'm talking about today was that the reason we bend ourselves out of shape to get something done is we don't believe that left to our own devices we'll do the right thing. We'll do what is ours to do. And because we think we need to be pushed, we need to discipline ourselves, we need to move ourselves, we don't trust ourselves. And in so bending ourselves in a pretzel, we wind up trusting ourselves even less. Because then when the discipline starts falling down, or we're not keeping to that stringent diet, or we're not going to the gym 3 days a week, or we're not doing all those things that we want, we think we ought to, we should be doing, right? Then we think we certainly can't, we're just not good, we're not getting it done. We don't feel good about ourselves. And so I saw that at an early age, and one of the things I did is I wanted to discover, well, what would I do if I didn't discipline myself or do anything? And I wound up sitting for 3 days. And I woke up on the morning of the third day and thought, I need to do something. This is boring just sitting here. And got up and started doing stuff and started noticing what I was motivated to do. And so got a real sense of who I am at my core in a way that I had not known before that, because I was so filled with shoulds. Maybe you've experienced some of that, feeling filled with shoulds. When you're filled with shoulds, how can you know who you are? How can you know the heart of who you are when you're filled with the ideas of what everybody else tells you you should be, or you're telling yourself? Sometimes I hear my mom's voice run through my head, or my dad's, right? My mom's big thing is I don't care what you do as long as you're the best at it. Yeah. That was very important to her, that I be the best at it. Ooh, that drove me crazy. Almost drove me to suicide. Right? Because I didn't think I could be the best in anything, so then what was the point? Since that was the driving thing. But it wasn't my driving thing, but I didn't know that. I thought I had to live up to that. Maybe you got some things you feel like you got to live up to. Trust. Trust is deep. When you get to, and then there's all these different levels of it, right? One of the things that I've discovered in my evolution with trust is that I need to trust me. I need to trust myself. I need to be able to depend upon who I really am. But to know that, to be able to depend upon that, first I have to know, like, what's real for me? That's one of the things that took me, people laugh when I say I've done 97 different types of work, but one of the things that drove me that way is I wanted to know, was this for me? Does this really fit who I am? And it really wasn't until I started realizing that I had been following a spiritual path since a very early age, but kept thinking that that's just part of the other thing that I'm supposed to be doing, as opposed to really the thing for me. But once and I didn't get this until I was in this cabin in the woods. I was already in my 50s. I'm up here talking to you guys because I'm hoping to save you some time.
I need you to save me some time.
That's the thing, I see the entire journey I've taken. I'm reading these journals sometimes, I get so sad sometimes, thinking about myself back then and how much I struggled trying to be something I wasn't. When all the time it was clear this was it. I feel so much myself these days. That's a really different way to be in the world. And I ask you, how much do you feel yourself? How much are you deep inside your core, really deep in here, feeling like, yes, this is exactly me. my life, what's around. I sit home, I got, my wife and dog and cat and Ash, and we share the living room, and I'm like, yes, this is my life and I love this. We put the fire on the TV. It's hilarious. And the room feels warmer, and we laugh, and it's like, look at that. It really does work. Placebo effect, And it's like, this is, I went out with Julia Burrell. We went out to Elk Island, and we're walking out there, and it's cold. Well, maybe not for you guys, but it was for me. But it warmed up quick because walking in snow is hard. Which I learned the last time, so I was more prepared this time. Well, anyway, we're out there walking. I'm going, yes, this is exactly where I want to be. And we saw some elk out there. When you start feeling that way about your life, like, yes, this is exactly, or are you? Do you have a life where you can't wait to get away on vacation? That's a really good judge. If you can't wait to get away from your life, to be on vacation, then you are not in touch with the life you really want. I go away on vacation and I can't wait to get back. That's a feeling to have about your life, right? You can't wait to get back to it, to be in it. You miss it when you're gone from it. If you miss your life when you're gone, when you're off doing something else, then you're doing good. That's good. That's a great way to live. But if you can't wait to get away because of what's going on, I say take a look at that. Delve into that. Get to know yourself a little deeper. Because it is at that deeper level that we can discover who we truly are and then trust that. Because that's key, that you can trust yourself. Trust who you are. This is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is what I believe in. This is how I want to live. And then trust that life, to support yourself in that. I never got stuck in that. It never dawned on me that being a minister was how I was going to, spiritual leader was how I was going to support myself. That never crossed my mind. Until it was already happening. It was actually happening first. I might have told you guys this story, but how I got into this was I was still trying to make it in music. And I was the music director in Asheville, North Carolina. I put out a CD that got around to a lot of the other centers and Unity churches. They loved it. And so I started getting phone calls about coming and playing at their centers and churches. And so I told John and Barbara, I'm going to hit the road. I want to see where this leads. That's where I was pulled to do, right? That's what felt right for me. And so that's what I did. I started traveling around. And then one day, as I'm traveling around, one of the ministers at a Unity church says to me, if you did the talk too, we could pay you more. Okay. That's how I got into doing talks. It was like that. It wasn't like I said, I need to do talks. This is what I should be doing with my life. It was like, do talks, we'll pay you more. Okay. And then once I started doing that, then spiritual leaders and ministers started coming to me and going, if you run the whole show on Sunday, we'll pay you more. And I was like, okay. So then I'd come in and I'd set up the whole, celebration. And I did that. He's fine. He's doing great. He's doing great. Hope you join us on Saturday. So, and then from there, my very Jewish mother goes, you should become a minister. I thought, no, I hadn't even really thought about that. And so it was this organic unfolding that led me here. I mean, when I went to Asheville the second time after Burbank, I thought I was going there to retire. I'm sure I've told you that. And then, it came up that, I saw that hawk, which led me to checking my email, which led to seeing one open pulpit, which led me to checking others to find this one. It was like boom, 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 boom. And that's how life can be. If you're true to yourself and you trust yourself and you're willing to take a little risk. Because it's a little scary, okay, sometimes a lot scary. To trust that so deeply in yourself that then, because what we talk about here is what you embody manifests, right? What you embody shows up. So the deeper you trust yourself, get to know yourself, the deeper that's what you're embodying, then that's what starts showing up, and it goes boom, 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 and here I am before you on stage. Because that's how it unfolds. You don't have to do 97 jobs. You just got to spend the time to really get to know what's true for you and then not get stuck in what it looks like. If I'd gotten stuck in what it looks like, a Jewish boy from the Bronx was never going to be a minister. But I didn't. I went with that organic knowing, that trust that allowed me to express and live and be in what mattered to me most, which is this teaching, which is the fact that there is only one. You know, I look at that identity prayer that we say from Dr. Ernest Holmes. Hey, is it possible to put that back up there? Is that a possibility? That's right. Anything's a possibility. I like your thinking. Yeah. So to know this about me, to know this about you, right? To take that in, that within myself is the wholeness, peace, poise, and power of life. Can I get the next slide, please? That this life is health. It is abundance, it is love. These are not saying this is what you got to do to get that. Right? So this is what we call intention. I hold this as an intention, and then I trust that within myself, I will get shown whatever's next to fulfill this intention. Right? There's nothing in here that says what that's going to look like. That it needs to look like I'm making money playing music, or I'm this healer, or I'm this, or I'm that. There's nothing in there about that. And so that's why Ash and I, what we trust in is the quality of health, peace, poise, and power. The quality of love. That there's only one life, because there's only one. And this life is my life now. And the deeper I trust in that, thank you. I don't need that up there anymore, thank you. The deeper I trust in that, the deeper you trust in that, the deeper you see that quality realized. That has been my experience. You don't got to do 97 jobs. It doesn't have to take you 50 years. It obviously did me. But trying to save you a little time here. Dig deep into that trust that is you. You know, one thing that Julie and I were talking about was grief. And she said something brilliant. She said, I've recognized that the deeper I'm willing to grieve, the deeper I get to love. That they're connected. They go together. That was brilliant, right? That's what's possible when we trust. When we're feeling that grief, because grief comes, you lose a job, there's grief. You know, you move out of your house, that's grief. You lose a relationship falls apart, there's grief. And so a lot of times what people do with grief, and they go, I'm not doing that again, that hurt too much. When you do that, you shut off not only life's expression, but you shut off that part of yourself that wants to experience deeply. And then you're not trusting yourself. You're not trusting the healing that comes from grief. You're not trusting that there's something deeper going on here. Anytime you're in a situation where what you're saying to yourself is, this isn't working, you have lost trust. Because our lives work. You can count on that. I have learned to count on that. And in doing so, it deepens and deepens and deepens. The deeper we can trust ourselves, the deeper we can trust the process of life itself. You really can trust that left to your own devices, left to who you truly are, left to your deepest self, you will do what you're called to do, and it will turn out brilliantly. It has for me. So I know it will for you. Because I'm honestly not special here. I'm just this guy living a life. And lucky enough to have shown up here to embody deep enough. You know, I am so lucky that I have failed so many times. Because if I had been successful, it might have held me to, I can't do without the money. I can't do without the success. I was actually lucky how much I failed. That something inside me kept pulling, saying, no, that's not it yet. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. That's what's possible for all of us. And that's what I know for you. Thank you. I love you.